Okay, it's time to stop now. Hello everyone and welcome to 102nd free webinar titled From Emissions to Solutions, CO2 Storage and Green Energy Transitions, presented by our instructor Dr. Hesham. Dr. Sarah is an assistant lecturer in the Faculty of Energy and Industry at Borg Technological University and a researcher at EJUST and the City of Scientific Research. Her research focuses on nanotechnology, water treatment, carbon dioxide storage, green energy, including green hydrogen, and the application of AI and Internet of Things in sustainable technologies. She is currently pursuing her PhD in climate change, specifically exploring the integration of water treatment, carbon capture, and renewable energy systems. She has published in top Q1 journals with a focus on innovative techniques for pollutant removal from water. She serves as a sustainable development ambassador and climate change trainer, and she is an active member of YOUNGO, the United Nations Youth Constituency for Climate. She represented Egypt at COP27, COP28, and COP29, where she received multiple awards for best policy papers and research contributions. So welcome, Dr. Sarah. Before we start our session, I'll just make a small presentation about OPA upcoming service and plans. Hello, everyone. This is Adil, OPA Business Developer. We will be conducting a live course next week on 17th May, titled IADC Advanced Math School. This course is IADC certified. The course price without certificate will be $275 and the certificate price $250. This makes a total of $525 for the course. You can scan this QR code to register, or I will send all the links in the chat box after I finish my presentation. Here in OPA Energy, we have conducted more than 50 live course, which is converted into recordings and available in sales in different bundles like reservoir engineering, G&G, rig and rigless operations, production technology, safety and data analytics. You can also scan this QR code to register. Here's one of our best services, which is a mentorship program. Mentorship is a one-to-one mentoring sessions by highly experienced mentors. It's like a tailored program based on your needs. You can request, explain the know-how of software, guiding on personal data, professional guiding for PhD and master, helping undergrad students in their projects. We have completed more than 50 mentorship with more than 950 learning hours, and the mentees were from more than 10 different countries. You can also scan this QR code to apply for a mentorship. Here's a glance of our website, opacourses.com, where you can access everything we have talked about, whether it's a live enroll in a live course, enroll in a recorded course, apply for a mentorship, apply for an online internship, attend our free webinars, and so on. So make sure you pay it a visit. And finally, how to be an OPA ambassador. There are 2 tracks to join our community. Take 1 or more courses or take a mentorship program. So what will you get from being an OPA ambassador? You will get discounts on all courses in the future and group discounts when you get your friends with you. Thank you for listening, and now it's time for our session. Dr. Sarah, you can share your presentation now.
Okay, thank you so much for your grateful presentation. I'm going to share mine.
Okay.
I think you still sharing yours because okay, share
Okay, we can see it now.
so you can see it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, welcome everyone. First of all, I'm very happy to be here with you, giving you a session with title From Emissions to Solutions, the Carbon Dioxide Storage in Green Energy Transition. When you hear this title, we have to categorize it into four sections. First, understanding carbon capture storage, which is abbreviated with CCS. The second section will be integration with green energy systems, how to integrate carbon capture systems with green energy. The third section is the policy and innovation outlook.
Excuse me, Dr. Sora. Did you
Yeah,
share the slideshow or the PowerPoint because it's stuck on the first slide?
really?
Yeah.
Now, the table of contents, right?
No, the first slide. From emission to solutions.
Why?
You can reshare it again.
Okay.
Okay, you are sliding now
The
between slides.
second one, right? Okay. So here
If
the
you
first,
could make a slideshow, it will be perfect. Just to
maybe like that, right?
that's the problem. We can't see the slideshow. Did you share the slideshow or the whole presentation? You
The
have
whole
two options in Zoom.
presentation. Okay, so make it as a slideshow first.
Yeah, and then start sharing.
By the way, it's sharing the presentation file. Then we have to do it as a slideshow, not the contrast. It's we can do it in a slideshow in the first.
Okay, no problem. You can use the normal presentation.
Okay, but after our if the second try, I'm opening the table of contents. Is it appearing or only the first one?
No, the PowerPoint appears, not the slideshow. The third slide actually. Now it's table of content. Yeah,
Yeah, this is the second slide. Yeah.
yeah. Second slide now.
Okay. Okay. So let's begin. We were telling that we have four sections. The first section is understanding the carbon capture. The second section is integrating the carbon capture with green energy systems. The third one is the policy and innovation outlook. And the fourth one is youth and academic contribution. Let me introduce myself. I'm lecturer assistant in the Technological University. I'm mentor for scientific projects and policy papers. I'm researcher in green hydrogen and gas sensors. I was a chief negotiator in COP29 simulation. I'm sustainable development ambassador here in Egypt. I'm CEO of my recycling startup. It's called Fabronics. I'm a chief of planning committee of World Health Conference that was achieved by my foundation. Okay, now I want to ask you a question. When I tell you, I think that maybe most of you didn't hear about the carbon capture methods before, and maybe the others have heard about it. But let me ask you a question that says, which of the following carbon capture methods do you think has the most potential? And when you tell me the answer, please introduce yourself to me. Okay, maybe I can choose someone to maybe Alma Alma Islami. Mr. Adil, can you unmute them now just to let them answer the question?
Yeah, you can unmute yourself now.
Okay, so which of the following carbon capture methods do you think has the most potential? You can answer or write on the chat. Alma Islami, you can,
Anyone actually can answer if he wants.
yeah.
Anyone can unmute himself now so that he can answer, or just type in the chat if you're not ready to open the mic. So we have an answer from Lala, direct air capture.
Okay, can you introduce yourself, please? I just want to know, are you student? Are you graduate? What's your field of study? Okay, direct air capture. Option C, I think it's carbon capture from industrial resources. Okay, Azerbaijan State Oil and Industry University. Wow, this is great. Okay, the right answer is carbon capture from industrial sources. So, according to this answer, the carbon capture from industrial sources, what sustainable goals can be achieved? Hmm, you can type in the chat. What sustainable goals can be achieved according to the answer of carbon capture from industrial sources? Think, we have 17 goals. So, which at least 5 goals can be achieved when we use the technique of carbon capture from industrial sources? You can unmute yourselves, by the way, and keeping CO2 at the current levels. Okay, let me say. The carbon capture from industrial sources can achieve the climate change action goals. We can use it like we can use the mitigation, adaptation for climate change. We can use what else? We can use the consumption. We can control our consumption of carbon dioxide from the sectors. Also, we can achieve this goal of innovations, especially in industry. I will leave the rest of two. You can think about it and please write it in the chat. You know, the emissions of carbon dioxide from industrial sources, the percentage is increasing globally. We have at the recent 4 years, there is increase from 40 to 41.5% in 20 and 24. And this is, by the way, too much high percentage, as you know that Paris Agreement that was in 2015, there was agreement to limit the global warming to 2 Celsius and try to increase it to 1.5 Celsius just to decrease the effect of global warming. And this will happen with decreasing the amount of carbon dioxide. You know that we are on the track to hit 1.5 Celsius between 2030 and 2040 if there is no action taken. So, to stay under this number, 1.5 Celsius, we have to cut the global emissions by 50% to reach the net zero by 2050. Here I am going to share a video just to imagine what's the carbon capture between going deeply into the explanation. So please watch it carefully with me.
Assalamu alaikum. It would be better to it's a full slideshow.
Yes, we are trying, but I don't know if I'm going
Okay.
to try it
So,
now. Tell me that
Sarah,
will it appear or not?
you can stop sharing. You can stop sharing
Okay.
and follow the steps that I will say to you, please. Stop sharing and then open the slideshow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Make an
Okay.
Alt tab and then open the Zoom window, the Zoom application.
Okay, okay, okay. I got it. I will make a slideshow, then I'll tap, mm,
And then
then
open it, click on share on the Zoom window, Zoom desktop app,
share on desktop.
and then share the slideshow, not the PowerPoint file. There are two options:
The
PowerPoint
PowerPoint
slideshow
slide.
and
Mm. Yes, you the PowerPoint slideshow. This one, right?
yeah, and then
It
share.
appears, and then share.
Uh, it didn't appear until now.
No.
Did you select it and then click on share?
I'm selecting it, by the way, but
It's okay if you can't make it. It's okay. It's good and we can see it, but it would be better if you made it no slideshow, but at least we can see.
mm.
So it's totally okay.
Okay, so no problem. Okay. So you can see the video right now, right?
No, you stopped sharing. Just make a reshare again, please. Yes, we can see it now.
Okay. Okay, according to our video, we are going to understand the carbon capture and storage. It depends on three processes: capture, transport, and storage. First of all, what's the definition of carbon capture? Carbon capture is a process to trap carbon dioxide. That carbon dioxide that resulted from fuel industries and industrial industries to be deeply underground. So, what's the purpose? Just to trap the carbon dioxide deeply underground. It reduces the climate warming emissions. It can enable cleaner industry, support net zero carbon, and produces low carbon energy. So I want you to think, what's the relation between the carbon capture storage and the petroleum products or the petroleum sector? You know that carbon dioxide goes in petroleum processes or petroleum chemical processes like Fischer Tropsch, and maybe you can manufacture the methanol, and maybe you can manufacture the hydrogen. So CO2 is used in petroleum manufacture methods. I just want you to connect what's the connection of carbon dioxide and petrol or hydrocarbons manufacturing. So when carbon dioxide passes with the three stages: capture, transport, storage. What happened during these processes? First of all, I want you to know the technologies of CCS technologies. There are four technologies: post combustion and pre combustion. Post combustion capture, it captures CO2 after the fuel is burned by industrial processes. The pre-combustion, CO2 is removed before the fuel is burned to convert it into hydrogen and CO2, then separate the CO2. While oxy-fuel combustion burns fuel in pure oxygen to produce carbon dioxide and water vapor. I think the chemists can provide us chemical equations, and if you are really interested in this part, you can find it and you can read more about the chemical interactions that related to the CCS technologies. So the most interesting thing, the CCS technology, that maybe I saw this in a case study in Norway. The first thing, there are saline aquifers. Saline aquifers is the first stage in each technology, by the way, because CO2 is injected into deep underground porous rocks. These rocks are filled with salt water. You know that salt water, salts, the chloride anion, when it interacts with carbon or maybe you have calcium chloride. The porous rocks are made of calcium chloride, so when they are interacted with CO2, it can produce carbonates, and this are called impermeable rock layers to trap the CO2. Just imagine it. CO2 reacts with the rocks. When they react with the rocks, they produce something like powder. This powder just come to penetrate the rocks again and to make just like a clog to trap the CO2. This is the first step. The second step, the old oil just proven to hold the fluids are reused for CO2 storage. Their existing also makes them cost effective. But mineralization in the basalt, CO2 reacts with with the rock to form carbonates. And by the way, the rocks or the carbonate rocks are the permanent cement. And there are more advanced academic research are working on this part right now. This is a case study from a country, Norway. Norway is using the CO2, the CCS that is captured from industrial cities in Europe. It's transported by ship, by the way, to Norway. It's piped under the North Sea. The North Sea, where it's safely there injected underground for permanent storage. Look, this slide has too much information, but it's really more detailed. When I ask why Norway, why specifically Norway, or why the North Sea, why especially the North Sea? Actually, the North Sea is geologically stable, and it's far from population, and it's well infrastructured, as it's repurposed for CO2 transport and injection. There is a well map there that understood after decades of oil and gas extraction, by the way. So it's the more safer part there or region that they can use for carbon capture storage. I put here a question that says, what do you think about CCS percentage capture? The CCS, the carbon capture storage, can capture up to 90% of carbon dioxide emissions from power plants and industrial processes. So this was a statistical data by 2024 July. They were talking about the carbon capture storage. It can effectively reduce 90% of CO2 emission. But what do you think? Is it more effective, or the renewable energy like the green hydrogen, the solar power, the wind energy effective? Actually, the three of them are more important because the integration matters. Integration helps to balance the strengths and weakness across the solutions for stable and clean energy system. It helps to ensure the grid stability while still meeting the climate targets of mitigation and adaptation. By the way, when the carbon capture storage combined with renewable energy, it helps to create low carbon power system. But wind and solar systems reduce emissions, so it really helps and supports this target. We have three integration matters ideas like solar wind energy. Solar wind energy, no CO2 emissions during the operations. So solar and wind energy replace the coal, oil, and gas in electricity generations. The green hydrogen, I think that all of us heard about it, especially the ones who graduated from oil and gas and maybe other fields too. Green hydrogen produced using renewable electricity and not fossil fuels. So they replaced the green hydrogen with zero CO2 emissions. The blue hydrogen and BECCS, and this is a problem because the blue hydrogen is made from natural gas with carbon dioxide captured to lower emissions, while the bioenergy carbon capture storage, it burns biomass for energy and stores the carbon dioxide to remove it from air. So we can say that the bioenergy carbon capture storage can deliver negative emissions, but it can provide sustainable permanent biomass. So because there is emissions result from this process. I have here a case study between two projects. In Canada used the CCS technique, while in Egypt, here in Ain Sokhna, they use the green hydrogen project. The deployment of CCS in Canada is very operational, by the way, but here in Ain Sokhna, it's still in the early stages. The energy system in Canada, there is hydrogen from natural gas, but in Ain Sokhna, there is hydrogen from renewable energy. So, by the way, we have green ammonia from this technique. Our integration type in عين السخنة, the green hydrogen with future CCS, we are still planning for carbon capture storage. But in Canada, no, it's well integrated and it's well operational. The reduction emission in Canada, 1 million ton carbon dioxide per year, but our emission reduction in Ain Sokhna, there is zero green ammonia experts. And this is, by the way, a huge advancement. Our broader impact here in Ain Sokhna just to have green energy expert and industrial hub, but in Canada, they are still modifying the CCS backbone for the future. So, a question, which is more important for the energy future, CCS or renewables? What do you think?
Renewables.
The renewables, okay. Uh, Dan thinks that it's CCS.
I think it's renewables in my mission.
Okay, great. Uh, this is good and this is good, but by the way, from my opinion, I always obey Aristotle when he said that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, because the three techniques just continue each one or complete each one, because we can't maybe support only one technique and neglect the others. No, I think that each technique has its role, and maybe in other fields, not only in CO2 emissions sectors like the hydrogen emissions or the hydrogen production from renewable electricity. And there are too much, by the way, or many ideas that support renewables or support CCS. But from my point of view, I think CCS and the renewables just complete each other. Okay, our policy and innovation outlook. The current policy for CCS. First of all, CCS was one of the outputs of COP29 simulation. They were talking about it, the moderators and the reviewers, that it's one of the most efficient technique that they must use all over the world, because it really decreased the carbon emissions up to 90%. But there is a problem, and is the cost. So the carbon pricing, how to mechanism the cost of emissions, especially when we take an example. Here I'm putting an example to Canada's federal carbon price. The federal carbon price is rising to $170 for each ton that support the CCS project economics. So we have to put taxes on the companies that have carbon dioxide emissions more than the requirement, or more than the rule requirement of CO2 emissions that is well known all over the world. So the EU emissions trading system indirectly says that CCS by raising CO2 costs. So when CO2, the tax of CO2 increases, so we can really have more benefits from CCS, the carbon capture techniques. Here, more an example, the private investments encourages the CCS and the blue-green hydrogen projects. They want to mix the renewables with carbon capture systems, just to make a great advancement and a great financial support. The international collaborations, multilateral efforts accelerate deployment and knowledge sharing. So when we example of mission innovations and clean energy, the CCS initiatives. Maybe when you look at UK, Canada, Netherlands, the partnerships on CO2 transport and storage standards. So CCS is included in COP negotiations for global net zero pathways. But I said that we have a problem, the price of CCS technology. So we have recommendations, the innovation trends for carbon capture, the storage monitoring technologies. Advanced tools should be used for tracking CO2 injection and storage integrity. So, what are these tools? They should be used from or made from fiber optic sensors. You can use imaging, you can use satellite monitoring to improve accuracy. And you have to take the cost in consideration. Nowadays, the most interesting thing that youth are working on is the AI driven process optimization in the carbon capture storage. Okay, the current policy. The current policy that we are using now just to decrease the cost of carbon capture storage is the new materials. And here we are going to talk about the role of material science. There are new materials right now. The new materials should be characterized by nanoporous materials with ultra high surface area, and it should be selective and efficient for CO2 capture at lower energy cost. By the way, the new materials are characterized by cheap cost. It's not too much expensive. And there are eco-friendly materials like graphene derivatives, double-layered hydroxides, ZIF, and COF. By the way, I'm putting here a page of my policy paper. This policy paper, I have taken the best outstanding policy paper at COP28 all over Egypt because it was highlighting the impact of green hydrogen and other renewable energy techniques with using the material science. And this was new because you will not find a policy paper talking about the importance of material science and the importance of nanotechnology in financial systems and policy papers. So it was new. Here we can talk about the role of material science in CCS. First of all, you have to look at the advanced materials for carbon dioxide capture. We said MOF. MOF, by the way, it's made of metals that is captured to organic ligands, and it's characterized by high specific area. When you have a material with high specific area, it's really sufficient to be selective for the gas you want to absorb, to be selective for carbon dioxide gas. So these types of MOFs, zeolites, amine functionalized adsorbents can enhance the efficiency and selectivity of CO2 capture. And there is a stability in these materials. When you remember in the first slides, we were talking about the technology that's used. We have three processes that they compress the CO2 just to move in the pipelines that are made of rocks. This process is expensive. It's not costless. So I always recommend youth or people in the academic fields and who are interested in the policy innovations to look at the material science or the nanomaterials because it's costless, eco-friendly, and they can develop materials that ensure long-term viability and cost effectiveness. and it can capture carbon dioxide gas with high efficiency. So when you look at these materials, you have to concentrate at corrosion resistant alloys, because what's the meaning of alloy? Alloy means that mix of metals. You have to look at the metals that are using as adsorbents to be corrosion resistant, not to be corrosive in the brine, in the salty water, because this will be a problem. So you have to think about a metal that will be anti-corrosive, like double layered hydroxides and MOFs. By the way, here I am putting a research I was working on about studies of double layered hydroxide. You will find it here, and I can send it to you on the chat. You can read about the double layered hydroxide. Double layered hydroxide is really eco-friendly material and has a high specific area that can really capture carbon dioxide efficiency with high efficiency. So I always recommend this material for CO2 capture. When we talk about the projects that are implemented here in Nile Delta in Egypt, there is a study shows that we have 16 potential carbon dioxide storage sites in Egypt, while estimated capacity of 622 million metric tons. So this is impressive, and it's still under construction and under study, but it's really impressive when it's implemented as a whole project. It will be really inspiring to the other projects to be started. And so after this project, we have a project here in the Western Desert. The potential carbon storage sites have been identified to capture 350,000 meter ton. So I think this is an impressive project too. Okay. This is my favorite part because I always like to mentor youth. When I say what can youth do, especially in the academic contributions. First of all, your voice is important to reach. How can I reach it? You can participate in many initiatives, and the most interesting initiatives that I have worked in, and I recommend everyone just to take part in, UNFCCC. UNFCCC, you can take here more than 100 of trainings in the climate research. Youngo. Youngo, by the way, is the most efficient institution. Actually, I have represented them many times in the Climate Finance Academy. I have taken workshops and policy papers there, and I have learned how to do a policy paper. Then I was a mentor for policy papers for youth. The UNDP and British University in Egypt, I recommend youth to take part in COP30 simulation when it's opened. It will be opened maybe in September, and in the 1st of October, you have to take part in. This simulation is like a training in policy papers, negotiations, how to say your idea and opinion, and how to do a policy paper. And based on your efficiency in policy papers and negotiations, you can represent yourself in COP30, inshallah, when it's done after the simulation itself. EG Youth for Climate, it always take part in the COP. And by the way, the BUE works with EG Youth for Climate in workshops and community engagement and so on. In research and competition engagements, IEEE is really the best. There is Nubi in Stanstone Research, and it's very good. Nile Delta CO2 storage. Nile Delta CO2 storage, it has a perfect R&D line. the Carbon Capture Global Summit 2025 you can take part in, and you have to start, by the way, from now. You have to start which part I want in the CCS. I want the policy paper, or I want the academic contribution, or I want to take part in the industry based on my job, based on my field, or I want to make an initiative that maybe joined youth just to do this and to have the working community for mentoring, for training. So you have to identify your roles. The conferences you can take part in to learn the carbon capture storage. It's the Carbon Capture Mena Summit, the Cairo Sustainable Energy Week, EGPS 2025, Egypt Student Field Camp, and by the way, there are so much more. So I want to hear from each one of you, what's your contribution in this. Maybe it's different from you, but I want to hear what's your contribution in the youth contributions or in the academic contributions. What's your contribution? Have you taken part in academic research before in CCS? You can write in the chat, by the way.
So Oku has raised his hand, so I have unmuted you. Oku, you can speak in the mic if you want, and write in the chat if you want. It's totally okay. So we have answers in the chat box.
Okay, using public transport rather than personal cars. I try to reduce plastic things. I try to use public transportation. Okay, this is good. So have you made an initiative to reduce the plastic things and to spread your awareness between people just to use the public, not to use the public transportation? Contributing to environmental safety regulations via research papers or presentations. Okay, this is good. Okay, so you published your paper internationally, right? Okay, so we can say that a lack in technology. So you have the awareness, but lack of in technology. Arranging webinars in the university. Wow, this is good. And students carry out research, but I haven't found yet anyone in Alexandria. Okay, actually, I'm from Alexandria. You can get in touch with me if you need any help in your research. Wow, you published a paper on adopting hydrogen and sustainable fuel sources to decarbonize the transportation sector. I think this is interesting. So by the way, you still have the chance to publish it and participate more and more in conferences to help you in for publishing. Yeah, so that's why I always said, Lala, I always say that every one of us has to, to practice his role, just to talk in conferences, to aware youth, in webinars, in initiatives, in even in your university, because it's expensive. Solar energy is expensive. I was working on a project that's related to solar energy. Solar energy is really expensive, so we were using material science just to decrease the cost. There are safety regulations. Yes, I will. Ahmed, I will write your TR. Okay, we are going to talk after our webinar, showing case the adverse effects is enrichment caused by inhabitants. Plant a lot of trees. This is perfect, and I hope if every one of us can have a tree in front of his building, it really changes. When I enter a street that is full of trees, I feel that it's less in its temperature. The temperature is going down deeply, and the air is. I feel this feeling of air. So the temperature is low. Make it green, yeah. I always support this opening parks, especially in densely populated regions of cities. We have to. Yes, we have to. This is the sustainable cities. Yeah, you know what? The trees is the carbon capture storage. The idea is taken from the trees, by the way. So it's the trees that God made. The technique that God made is the trees. Oko Akpan offered implemental strategies to reduce GHG emissions and low carbon. Okay, this is great recommendation. One of my was replacing the gas. I recommend you to keep working on this. Yeah, stop deforestation. By the way, I like your contributions. Wow, this is so honorable. I will share with you. Yeah. Vertical farming. By the way, vertical farming was one of the outputs of COP 29. Please try to come COP 30. You will find me there, and you will get a great benefit from it. I want maybe you can contact me after the webinar to share with you just to participate in COP 30 simulation. You will really learn a lot. I will share with you some of my contributions. First of all, this picture that I'm here in the bottom of the slide, that the AUC fellowship policy paper. Here I did a research. I did a policy paper that relates the climate change material science with the financial statements all over the world. It was a really great fellowship, and I worked on the state evaluation program. The picture that is above was I contributed to a conference all over the universities to explain my paper that is related to double layered hydroxides that has high specific area and can capture pollutants as carbon dioxide gas. Here was my contribution. I was a mentor here, COP29 simulation. I was a mentor for youth all over the world. They were coming from international parts of the world globally. I was a mentor to them, to the policy papers, and I was the chief negotiator for them too. Um, Here, I was a speaker. I was wearing use for the green chemistry, how to decrease the plastic, yeah, how to decrease the plastic, and how to use green chemistry in plastic recycling. And it was really very interesting. Here, I was doing research in carbon capture storage using material science, using printable material science, and this field is really interesting and just needs too much effort. Use for climate. I was taking a mentorship program here in Galala University. I was explaining my nanotechnology paper that describes the role of material science for capturing the pollutants too. And here I was giving a speech to youth about the Sustainable Development Goals and its relation to policy papers and academic contributions. Finally, this was my paper in COP29 that was presented by Young Go in Baku, and it was from the best 10 papers that published there in Baku. These are my part of my contributions to reach my voice all over the world. I want you to recap the most important points. Carbon capture storage, it capture up to 90% of CO2 from industry. The CCS and renewable energy integration creates a stable low carbon energy system to balance the strengths across technologies. You have to look at the Paris Agreement. Paris Agreement, COP27 here in Egypt was working on it. It aims to limit the global warming to 1.5 Celsius. The policy tools like carbon pricing and taxes make CCS and green hydrogen more financially viable. Innovations in materials and monitoring are cutting costs and improving CCS safety and efficiency. Youth and academic voices are driving climate action through research, workshop, and internationally collaborations. So these are the most important points you have to concentrate and have to remember every time for anyone who is going to work in this part in academic contribution, industry, or in policy paper. Don't forget to ask a mentor. You should have a mentor just to know your steps and to know what you are going to do next. Okay. Maybe I have a small quiz. I will share it with you. I will send it in the Zoom here. If it will be difficult for you, just say. We can.
Sorry, Dr. Sarah, it asks for a code.
Yes, I will share it right now.
Okay.
This is the code. I have shared it.
So please keep your questions to the end of this webinar. We will have a time for questions after the quiz. Okay, so they are waiting for you to start the quiz, Dr. Saad.
Yeah, so I know I only have 11 participants in the quiz, so I know that there is a higher number.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to enter.
How to enter? Visit this link. I'll reshare it again in the chat. And when it asks for the code, write this code.
Okay, I'm going to start. Let's start.
So for the people who has finished the quiz, I'll send the feedback link in the chat so that you can fill it until the rest of attendees finish the quiz, and they also should fill it. Okay, I've sent it. So I've sent the feedback form right now in the chat. Please fill it so that we start our last part, which is the Q&A. So after filling the feedback, prepare your questions to ask Dr. Saad.
Congratulations, your accuracy is excellent, and I'm very happy that the webinar is working with you. I'm happy that you understood the main points of the webinar. This is so good. I want to thank all of you. And just to give you the last recommendations, participate in the youth climate platforms, attend key conferences, contribute to academic and policy papers, join the student field activities. By the way, I'm supervisor for student field activities in the university. Engage in competitions and innovation challenges, publish and present your work. If you have any old paper or you have a startup or idea, don't be, don't, I mean, just to be fast. Go, to be in a rush, just publish your work. Always do a collaborative research projects and always have a mentor. Ask mentors. Thank you so much. Here are my contacts for anyone who wants to get in touch with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sora, for this wonderful webinar. I really enjoyed it a lot, and me myself, actually, I participated in the quiz. So I really liked it. And now it's time to receive the attendees' questions. Please, if you have any question, type it in the chat so that Dr. Sora could answer it. So we have a question from Demetrius. He would like to ask if there is any danger to the area where the project of CO2 storage is carried out. Although there are safety instructions and policies, some people are afraid of these projects, probably due to incorrect information.
First of all, when CO2 storage is carried out, the first regulation that government should look at is to be far from a population and to be in a stable geological part like the North Sea. And for sure, uh, and for sure, the North Sea, by the way, has the most concentrated seawater. So these are the most safe regulations. But the most one that government should look at, just to be away from any part that have local people, just population. The solar energy and renewable energy become less of focus due to the high cost. So that's why I'm recommending you just to use the materials of low cost, like the nanomaterial, nanoporous materials, like double layered hydroxides, MOFs. So these are the low cost materials that youth and academic contributions should look at, just to avoid this problem of high cost solar power and high cost renewable energy. This is the role of material science, to decrease the cost. No, not how many kilometers. It's away, far from the countries that people live in. Like in the sea, you know what? The Norway Sea, the North Sea, it's under the sea. Yes, sure, I can provide my WhatsApp number. Yeah, under the sea. Yeah. So it's really far away. Here is my contacts, by the way. This is my WhatsApp number. This is my mail. This is my LinkedIn. No. Science has many fields, and petroleum engineering is a field of science. There is nothing like that will happen. No, because petroleum engineering is the major field, by the way, for economy. You know, petrol just brings money. So no, this thing will not happen. No, the reaction with basalts because of salt water. Carbon dioxide reacts with salt water. So it should be aquifers in saline water. I can give you a list of countries when you contact me. Yes, it's under the sea.
Okay,
Yes,
I think this is all for today. Thank you again, Dr. Sarah, for this great webinar. And for those who are asking about the webinar certificate, it's automatically generated on the website. Just visit the website tomorrow, and you will see it on the webinar page.
Okay, this is my slide of contacts. You can get in touch with me anytime.
Okay, thank you all for attending. So here is the last question. What is pre-combustion, post-combustion, and oxy-fuel combustion?
Okay, I'm going to get into this slide just to let you watch it again. The pre-combustion is CO2 just to be captured before any burning of fuel. Just typically to convert CO2 into hydrogen, convert fuel into hydrogen and CO2 without burning. Here, without burning, the pre-combustion CO2 is just removed without burning of fuel, converting fuel into hydrogen and CO2. Post-combustion, it captures carbon dioxide after the fuel is burned. And how it's burned? By membranes or solvents. The oxy-fuel combustion, the fuel is burned in oxygen to produce carbon dioxide and water vapor. And this, by the way, each technology has a chemical equation. I can share it with you through email if you wanted. Then CO2 is separated and captured.
For the presentation, course, I'll ask Dr. Sarah to share it with me, and then I will share it with you on the WhatsApp group of our webinars. So I think there are no any questions. So thank you, and see you soon in our next webinars, inshallah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. See you soon. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Here are my contacts. Okay. Thank you so much.